Marvelous vlogs of Alexander Malinin. Oh, hi guys, and this is our Alexander Malinin vlogs. And today, it was like more than 3 weeks ago, maybe, I'm recording it today. So yeah, I watched Avengers: Age of Ultron for the first time, and I'd say I really enjoyed it. But let me get something straight. This is a spoiler review, of course, but I'm sure that most of you saw this movie. If you didn't, it's either that you go away, but I mean, I know, I myself don't really care about spoilers. I enjoy them because they make me view the cinematography of the film more, because I'm not as focused on the plot and more on the execution of the shots, which is really my kind of thing. But let me get started. So this Avengers film for me is better than the first one. I found it more enjoyable and sort of more interesting. Now let's get it straight. So our villain, Ultron, who was created accidentally sort of by Tony Stark, and who thought that wiping out humanity will sort of save the world, although his motivation for me is a little bit cliched, I still really enjoy his execution. He's a very scary villain who you can relate to, and who isn't just some robot saying scary lines and everything, but he has some interesting lines, interesting characteristic traits, like when he destroys one of his bodies to show how his power, how much bodies and everything he has. I loved his whole idea of him being this sort of funny guy, but still being very menacing and sort of there are no strings on me. That was perfect. I absolutely loved how Ultron's invasion on the Avengers was made. So we had this very calm and fun atmosphere that was immediately broken by the arrival of Ultron, and made the scene so much more intense, with you sitting on the edge of your seat. Now the Avengers team is, of course, I like their interactions and their characters more than in the first one. I really think they lived up to the potential that they had, and I liked the relationship between Black Widow and Hulk, with her being able to sort of calm him down for him to become Bruce Banner again. I enjoyed the beginning battle because there were some very cool shots and parts of action, like that slow-mo where they all jump into the air to attack. That one was so great. I enjoyed the new characters, Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, although to a degree. I did not enjoy them completely. They probably were my least favorite aspect of that film. I liked how Tony Stark has this very sort of feel in this movie like he is creating something good, but he goes so far that he always ends up creating something terrible, because he is always thinks forward, and he doesn't really plan things out. He only sort of thinks of how it can become. I also really enjoyed the stay at Hawkeye's family, which did not slow the movie down one bit, and it was a very emotional thing, and a surprising one. There were a lot of cool jokes in this movie, and once again, Ultron is great, especially his interactions with the other characters. It doesn't matter, friends or foes, you really see this personality of his and how he is very evil and yet so menacing because he is so interesting, not because he is scary. Well, he is kind of scary. He's probably on my top. Yeah, he is on my top 3. He's on the 3rd place. On the 2nd one, it's Loki, and on the 1st one, it's Ego, the living planet. Well, from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, of course. And after that, I want to really discuss how much characters were involved in this movie. There were thousands of characters, but I think every single one of them was sort of executed well and was just as good as in their individual movies where they sort of have a bigger role. Especially Eric Selvig, the professor who works with Jane Foster. I really enjoyed his interactions with Thor, and I really did like him being back because he's probably one of my favorite characters. I also really enjoyed how the Avengers are interacting and there's a lot of action. There's a lot of plot and very good plot. The only thing, this subplot with Thor and the Infinity Stones, although it could be called out of place, and it kind of is, it really does put itself into the main storyline. The action, on my first viewing, I thought it was great, everything was well. Well, I watched it through 3 days, so I did little pauses. But after that, on my second viewing, when I watched it all, I thought it could be the action, the amount of it, and how much of it could get a little sort of annoying. Because there might have been too much of it, especially the last act with the city. I wasn't a fan of it. It was a bit boring to me. But then, of course, we see the new base of the Avengers, which I absolutely love. How the jokes that Tony Stark makes once again are great, and overall, I really did enjoy it, and especially the last after credits scene with Thanos, where after the credits, if you wait, there's the scene where there's the Infinity Gauntlet, and he takes it, and he's like, "Fine, I'll do it myself." And the camera goes up and onto his face, and then he makes a fist and looks into the camera with a smile. It's so great. Can't wait for Infinity War because Thanos is a really intriguing character, and I like how he is being built up. In the first Avengers, how we just got that little bit of here. Then in this movie, we get a little bit, but we have him saying the lines. I think the actor is called Josh Brolin, if I'm correct, and and I absolutely love his look, how he's being set up, how we get little of him preparing for Infinity War. Overall, the movie was great, probably one of my favorite, but because it has some negative aspects to it, I would say it's 9.3 out of 10. Oh, parenthesis, out.